Washington. German Chancellor Olaf Scholz arrived in Washington on Monday for talks with President Joe Biden as the US tries to close ranks with its European allies over the purported threat to Ukraine from Russia, even as French President Emmanuel Macron flew to Moscow to engage Russian President Vladimir Putin. The twin moves, among a flurry of diplomatic engagements that also involves engaging India in a Quad meeting in Australia, comes amid unrelenting alarm in Washington that Russia is going to invade Ukraine, which Moscow insists is a false alarm. Macron, who has positioned himself at the center of Europe's furious diplomatic maneuvering over Ukraine, met Putin at the Kremlin. In televised opening remarks, the Russian president spoke to his French counterpart using the informal form of address, and praised France for trying to resolve the fundamental questions of European security. Macron said that he hoped the meeting would begin a process of de-escalation, adding, "This dialogue is absolutely essential, more than ever, to ensure the security and stability of the European continent." The Ukraine crisis, however, presents the US with an opportunity to reassert its Atlantic power credentials that had taken a backseat following a shift in its focus to the Pacific, and diminution of NATO by President Trump, allowing Russia to reassert itself in Europe. Scholz's visit is aimed at closing the gap Germany appears to have with the US and other European allies amid suspicion that its reluctance to take a strong stand against Moscow stems from its energy dependence on Russia. Germany gets over half of its imported gas from Russia, with more in the pipeline following the completion of Nord Stream 2. But in remarks ahead of his visit, Scholz rejected the notion that Germany is an unreliable ally of US and NATO because of its dependence on Russia. The reality is that Germany is the biggest NATO partner in continental Europe, that we are continuously strengthening our military forces. We are cooperating with our allies in NATO and the EU, and with the US, on the question of how to react to this threat to Ukraine. Our strict response is saying it will have very high prices if Russia intervene, he told the Washington Post. Asked if Germany will halt the process to open the Nord Stream 2 pipeline if Russia invades Ukraine, Scholz said all options are on the table. The US has tried to organize backup gas supplies to Europe from Qatar by giving the latter a major non-NATO ally status, but it is not clear to what extent this can meet Germany's needs. Adblock test why.